Hey, hello everybody. Welcome into another edition of Moving the Goalposts Leftovers. I'm Nick DiMartino. That's Nick Morgeson. Um, so there is wait, I gotta do the ad read. I almost forgot about the ad read.
I have
All
them
right,
up just in case too.
all right. So we have the kick read. So here's what's up, sports fans. We've got some amazing news that makes catching your favorite shows easier than ever. If you're hooked on the dynamic content and great analysis from Playback TV, you can find us in even more places. That's right. Playback TV programming is now expanding its live reach to the Empty the Bench Network's Kick and Twitch channels. Playback TV is still your home for premier sports content, but we're broadcasting live on these new platforms to bring the conversation directly to you. We want you to stop missing out on the instant analysis and real-time interaction that only a live show can deliver. Whether it's game day reactions or deep dive interviews, we're broadcasting on Kick and Twitch so you can chat with the hosts and community live. To catch the expanded live schedule, just search for @ETB Network on both Kick and Twitch. That's ETB Network. Follow us today and never miss a live minute of the great content you expect from Playback TV. All right. So it was nice reading a book just now. That's a long read. I got to tell you. The longest
no. I mean, those are gonna go. Those are gonna go away at some point. It's more just to get over the hump because we just started with those things. But they'll go away.
All right, and then we have the. All right, so we also have to thank our friends over at Novig. Moving the Goalposts Leftovers is powered by Novig, America's #1 sports prediction market, available right now in 35 states, including California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and New York. On Novig, you're 10 times more likely to win long-term compared to a traditional sports book because you're playing against real users, not the house. Sign up today and use promo code ETB Network for exclusive bonuses. All right, anything else we got to plug?
So it's funny. Remember how we were having a discussion? And it's funny with that read because I have to change that. Actually, I forgot to. Starting after November 30th, Novig will no longer be in California.
What happened? They piss off Newsom?
Probably. Remember,
maybe he was watching. Maybe he was watching one of our shows, placed a bet, and it lost, and now he's mad at Novik.
Probably, but remember, this is the discussion we were having, I think, a couple of weeks ago about, about the NBA gambling scandal and are they just going to f around with the gambling laws now because of all this illegal shifting of gambling?
No, because they've been doing that for a long time. Like, if you look at gambling laws, they don't make any logical sense.
Oh no, they don't.
Well, like gambling law, I'm sure I've told this story before, but like in Florida, every game has to be card based.
Yes, we've talked about that.
If you play craps at a casino in Florida, it has to be. My dad explained it to me, but I don't fully remember. It has to be like you have to have a card, and then you have to put like a card down, and like that's what you go base it off of when you roll the dice. It's something like that. I don't fully remember.
It sounds very complicated. Let's put it that way.
Logically, it doesn't even make sense. Like, what's the difference if it's a card game or not? Like, why does that matter?
It really doesn't. I think that's just them being technical based on whatever the law is in whatever state. I mean, I don't know. I just found that interesting. Like, because Callan was the one who got the email, not even me. Because I guess they go by the users based on whatever state you're in. And he's like, yeah, you might want to look at this email. They said we're no longer going to be offered in California. And I'm like, okay, then. So I guess we're going to have
Callan can't use it. But how much of our audience is even in California?
We do have some West Coast now that we have some West Coast people.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess more than we used to, I'm sure.
More than we used to, but I just found it interesting. I was like, oh, wow. So Newsom's just going to get rid of every part of gambling possible. And by the way, I'm sure you saw the whole thing with the Guardians now that's come out.
Yeah, Emmanuel Clase is apparently facing 65 years in prison.
And Luis Ortiz, I think, also.
Look, Craig Carton faced 99 years in prison, so I don't think it's going to happen.
But he was probably as dumb a criminal as you could possibly be.
Right, but the point I'm making is that, like, if you're facing X amount of time in prison,
it doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Even if you get whatever you get sentenced to, you're probably not even going to serve that sentence.
He was indicted. The two of them were indicted, by the way, officially today. Yeah. So that means they're going to do time of some sort. I don't know what. Or are they going to do the dumb athlete thing where the lawyer, usually athlete lawyers are incredible lawyers. Like, they find ways in loopholes around the law. and they're just going to be, all right, just do, I don't know, 2 years of community service and
In
don't do it
fairness,
again.
though, I don't really think that happens. Like, I don't know. This is the first time in a long time. When's the last time? Like right now with the NBA and MLB stuff going on with the gambling, it's the first time that we've seen athletes being like held accountable for something like this in a very long time. Since
You know
we've
what
been
it is, though?
exposed.
The NBA one was obviously with the mafia, so that's how it got tied up the way it
Yeah,
did. I don't know about the MLB. Apparently, and I was.
I mean, come on. You don't think the mafia was likely involved in this one too?
Oh no, and trust me, I agree that the mafia was involved in some way. I kept saying, and now the UFC has its own gambling scandal too.
UFC?
You didn't hear about that one?
I don't hear about anything that happens in the UFC.
So there was match fixing that went on at the past UFC fight night, and MMA Outsiders actually had the first direct source on that broke the story,
Oh, really?
and a clip from the show on here did like 14,000 views because this was the first guy before Ariel Hawani, before all the he happens to be like connected to UFC fighters and gyms and all this stuff, and he's like there was literally match fixing going on, like fighters were asked to throw fights, and according to this guy, apparently 100 fights were what's the word I'm looking for, flagged throughout the whole entire year. Doesn't mean that they necessarily had issues, but they were flagged like any other like gambling activity could get flagged, like the way the NBA it got flagged because of the betting. See, I don't understand the whole flagging situation because you could flag everything if you wanted to, if you think something is suspicious in gambling activity. Couldn't you?
Right. Well, but flagging is it's just when your eyebrows are raised. It doesn't mean that you're proving anything.
No, but they make such a big deal about how like hundreds of games are being flagged across professional sports for gambling. Who cares? Give me the actual stuff. Now, I'm sure
I think it's good that they're doing it though, because that means they're actually watching out
that's true.
for,
Now, did
for
you hear about the one?
suspicious activity.
Did you hear about the one in college basketball?
No.
Six players I got thrown out of college basketball from what I was hearing in the report because they were involved in like point shaving and taking information. I think the same way as Damon Jones would take the LeBron James injury information and share it with people.
I think in college basketball, it's a little easier to get away with because the level of play is noticeably lower than in the NBA. That it looks a little less suspicious. Like Terry Rozier, looking back at those plays, it's like, oh my god, that obviously he was doing that.
So I found it. So NCAA finds 6 players from 3 schools involved in fixing games. It was announced this past Friday. Let's see how many schools. Okay, so University of New Orleans, Mississippi Valley State, and Arizona State have been deemed permanently ineligible for their involvement in game manipulation and sharing information with known bettors and unwillingness to cooperate with investigators.
Interesting.
Now, would you say basketball is one of the easiest ones to obtain information though from, and that's why they've been trying to get away with all this stuff?
You mean the easiest to fix or
Like
the easiest to catch?
like to fix in a sense. It's the easiest one to fix.
No. I think you could argue football is the easiest to fix. Because there's so many moving parts. And I'll tell you why. There's so many moving parts in football. If there's but I think in a weird way, I think football, you can argue from a ref standpoint, is the easiest game to fix because there's so many things that go on in football and so many judgment calls. You know, you call a holding that's a little ticky-tacky and you let it go on the other side.
Yeah, but NBA refs can do that.
What?
NBA refs can do that too.
Yeah, but I think it happens more. I think it's more of a thing in football. You're right. You can do that in basketball too.
Go ask
Tim Donaghy in football.
Go ask Tim Donaghy how that worked out.
I think it's more of a thing in football than it because there's so many moving parts in football compared to basketball. It's like, oh, you call an illegal shift or you see an illegal shift and then you just ignore it. Like I think in football, it's actually easier in a lot of ways.
The funny part now with all the gambling, because of all the scandals going on right now, every time, have you ever had like that instance now because you're watching a game and it's close and a call happens that you think is weird or off? It's like, oh, the fix is in now. Like when you're watching.
I never think that. First of all, I don't even watch enough sports to think that because like I just have a wild and crazy schedule. I watch way less sports than I used to, so I don't even watch enough to actually have that instinct. But no, I don't think that. I am not conspiratorial. I think that sports fans are sometimes very conspiratorial.
Agreed.
And I am not a big believer. I am not. I'm kind of in the middle on conspiracies. I think that if you're not a conspiracy theorist at all, you don't have a brain. And if you believe in every conspiracy theory, you're just crazy. I think the truth about conspiracy theories is generally somewhere in the middle. Like, I think the Kennedy assassination was obviously a conspiracy theory, and you're crazy if you don't think it was. So I think conspiracy theories exist. However, I think sports fans get it wrong. You know what I mean? Like, sports fans would say something like, "Well, the NFL is not going to let the Chiefs lose a game."
Oh,
And I'm
please,
just like,
give a break.
that doesn't really make sense, because the NFL doesn't really stand to gain from the Chiefs winning another
No.
Super Bowl. If anything, it would be the other way around. Like, sports look nothing like they would if it was actually rigged. So I think that people get it all wrong. The only thing conspiracies that I think do happen are the ones that you don't think of and don't know of. So, just like what happened with the Terry Rose, like with this NBA gambling scandal, I think something like that probably happens, but nobody ever thinks, "Oh, that's what's happening." You know,
I have to throw out the funniest conspiracy theory of all time. I'm sure we've discussed this before. I like to call it the Joe Buck conspiracy theory, where everyone would be mad like every time that Joe Buck was calling their games.
Yeah.
What was it exactly? I can't remember exactly what it was. Like, oh, because they would put him on the Cowboys all the time and nobody else.
No, but like in baseball, it's like, "Oh, Joe Buck hates your team."
That's
every fan base thinks Joe Buck hates their team. Like, he can't hate every team.
First of all, he's a national announcer, for crying out loud.
That's the thing with baseball. Baseball is such
Centralized.
Baseball is so local, so regional, and so local that I think baseball fans suffer from the most delusion compared to every other sports fan. Think about this. Think about this, though.
Okay.
College football fans. If you're an Alabama fan, everything that happens with all of the other top teams, for instance, whether it's A&M, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, whoever, all of that is national news every week.
True.
So if you're an Alabama football fan, you're following everything, and you're suffering from no delusions about your team. But same thing with football, even more so in football. If you're a Jet fan, or you're a Giant fan, or you're whatever fan, everything that happens with every other team, you're seeing happen week to week. But baseball is so regionalized that fan bases see their team, for instance, get into a slump. But because it's not talked about with every other team that it happens to, fan bases think it's only happening to them. Think about it. New York fans, for a while, now, obviously the Mets ended up collapsing.
Right.
For a while, I think Met and Yankee fans thought it was only the Mets and Yankees that were going through bad stretches.
Oh, please.
But it turns out the Tigers went through one of the worst stretches that we've seen, but it wasn't talked about much. So baseball fans suffer from delusion. The other thing is that baseball culturally is different. It's a very insular sport. Think about this. You have baseball players, they spend their entire lives in this weird, their entire careers from when they're teenagers in this weird sort of like system of, okay, you go through like, it's weird, almost like underground system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have like the minor leagues go to AAA to AA to single A, and people don't even really follow it. But baseball is such an insular culture because of that, which is another thing that has to do with it, which is why baseball fans are so delusional often. So if you think about it, baseball fans are so used to their announcers and their broadcasters, the only broadcast that they watch for the entire season, and they're usually homers for their teams because, I mean, not everybody is a great announcer locally. So they look at Joe Buck, who is kind of unbiased, and like, he hates us. Like, that's the reason why.
It's so funny how that happens sometimes, because you're like, oh, well, he must be a fan of the Dallas Cowboys because he used to call every Dallas Cowboys game. And I'm like, no, that's not how it worked. The Dallas Cowboys get the ratings. That's why they're always going to put the number one team at the top. Like, it's the same thing they do now with Nance and Romo. They put them on the top games because that's going to draw them ratings. And also the number one team is going to be in more markets at the time.
Also, like, I don't think calling a team means that's like you're rooting for them. Just
no,
call them a lot.
Michael Kay goes through that constantly. He talks about that on the radio, where everyone's like, "Oh, the Yankee boy over there." No, he's just the announcer. He's the play-by-play guy of the Yankees. Now, did he grow up a Yankee fan? Yes,
In
but
fairness, Michael Kay is very biased for the Yankees, but that's a very obvious
it's
thing.
paid by them.
Right. He's paid by the Yankees. That's not the same thing with Joe Buck, who's not paid by any of those teams.
No, he's a Fox
He's
broadcaster.
a national broadcaster.
Now-
Michael Kay is supposed to be biased for the Yankees. I can't even blame him for that.
Now, I'll give you one that I don't like, and I said it during Game 7 of the World Series, which, by the way, 2 of our clips blew up on TikTok.
Crazy.
And
That was a crazy.
because
crazy.
I said I don't like the fact that Joe Davis was calling the World Series because he's the local Dodgers play-by-play announcer during the year.
Correct. Yeah.
And people were telling me I'm being a jerk and I'm overreacting. And if you heard the last 2 World Series, your Los Angeles Dodgers win the World Series. That's a local announcer calling a last out. That's not a national broadcaster. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's the number 2 team, I think, for Fox, for the NFL, I think, behind Burkhardt and Brady, I think. But people were getting mad. Like, why do you care? What do you mean, why do I care? I work in this business. I know the difference.
Now, was that the craziest World Series you've ever seen?
Probably.
It had to have been the best I've ever seen.
It's up there for sure.
Now, I didn't react to this. I thought the Dodgers were totally done. I did not think the Dodgers were going to win this game. I thought at the time Dave Roberts was crazy to keep Yamamoto in the game. I thought Yamamoto didn't have it at that point. And by the way, I wasn't wrong. He didn't have it. They just got through it. You know what I mean? They just got through it. He didn't really have it. By the way, that play with Andy Pages and Hernandez running into each other, that could have gone way different.
That would have been game over if they didn't catch it.
And that, by the way, was on Hernandez because that was Pages' ball. He was the one moving toward it.
Well, they say the center fielder is the captain in the outfield. Usually, that's how it usually goes.
So that's absolutely the center fielder's ball.
Absolutely. Yeah, every single time. Unless
I am sure he called it. I am sure he called it off, but Hernandez probably just didn't hear it.
I still think the one thing, and we debated this right after the game ended. I think they got that call wrong in center field where they say the ball was lodged in the bottom of the wall. And they were quick to say, stop play. It's stuck like Wrigley Field.
That's always what they do. I didn't see the play because I was asleep, but that's always what they do when the ball is stuck under the fence.
Right. They were so quick to stop. Like they didn't even run out there and say, is the ball lodged or can it be taken out? A lot of times they will go out there and say, go get the ball. It's not lodged.
Don't you think though that like maybe they should build fences a little different so the ball can't get lodged?
Or actually build them all the way down to the ground so that doesn't happen.
Why are they built that way?
And Wrigley Field, which I've been to before, is like, why the ivy? Like, because the ball will disappear under the ivy, and that's the end of the play.
Right.
Because you're not. First of all, would you want to touch that if the ball goes under there? I certainly would not.
I don't know what the hell. Yeah,
you don't know what the hell that's. First of all, I want to know who the moron is that put in poison ivy over an outfield wall. That one I'll never get.
The weird thing about baseball is that the dimensions of every park are just different. It's not like that.
That's why I like it.
Imagine if in football, like one team had like a 110-yard field, the other team had a 90-yard field.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the theory behind most of that is so like in San Francisco, the reason why they have the I don't even know what they call it. It used to be AT&T. I don't know what they call it anymore.
The ball travels differently in different parks.
Right, but the reason that the gaps are so big at the San Francisco Giants ballpark is because they were mostly known for speed and double and triples hitters. So they purposely built the park around the way the guys hit. Also, the infield, if you've seen that before, if you noticed I think it's in Toronto because of the roof, the infield is harder because they can't grow grass or whatever. Or they'll do other things like if you have a faster team, they will slow down the infield to make it, I think, softer so that the ball doesn't travel when it hits the ground. You can do that stuff. That's not cheating. That's you controlling your field.
Right. No. I'm not saying it's cheating. I'm just saying it's a little strange that you see that in baseball.
Oh, no. I'm just saying in theory, you can do whatever you want with your own field.
But every every ballpark does travel differently because it's outdoors. It's easier to, there's different levels of like say humidity and wind and things like that in every ballpark. It's not like in basketball where every game is indoors and everything's exactly the same.
Well,
Baseball's a little different.
that's like the NFL where you have some that are domes and some that are not, and they're going to play. Go ask the Vikings; they play all their games inside. Or
Right,
the Saints,
right.
the Saints too; they play all indoors. It
Yeah.
makes a difference. The ball flies more indoors.
By the way, the NFL screwed up again, putting 7 games in the 1:00 time slot. Now, in fairness, I'm a little biased because I sleep through all the 1:00 games, but I can't stand when the NFL oversaturates the 1:00 games and then just the 4:00 games are all terrible.
Today was amazing though. In the first window,
Oh, I slept through it.
no, I'm just telling you because we were sitting here watching it in here. So if I'm tired a little bit, that's why. But we had some really good games. But then the 3-game window, absolute trash.
Terrible.
You had what? 3 teams scored 40 plus points. I think all 3 games had 3 teams score 40 plus, and I was like, we finally quit. Finally at like 7:00. Like I just said, can't watch this anymore.
The 49ers at least made it a little bit interesting, and then they got that extra point blocked. And the Rams, look, I thought the Niners would cover because it's a rivalry game, and they're playing in San Francisco. It's kind of a tough environment. I think the Rams, the NFC this year is unbelievable. How many 6-2 teams are in the NFC?
Well, that division alone is playing good football.
That division between the Seahawks and the Rams, the Niners would win a lot of divisions and probably some divisions in the
By the
AFC.
way, is the Jet fan anger going to come out because of Sam Darnold actually playing good football in Seattle?
No. I'll tell you what. I actually don't root against our former quarterbacks.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about root against, but just anger in general that he's playing really good football.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I wouldn't root against him. That would be petty.
I actually really don't because I'm not petty like that. But the other thing I think of is that the way I see it with him playing well is okay. Maybe we didn't make a bad draft pick. Maybe we just had we didn't have good personnel.
Oh, it's us every single time.
But the other thing with quarterbacks is that they're expected to be leaders when they get drafted, and they're 21 years old.
They're not ready.
I've been 21 before. I couldn't lead anybody at 21.
We all have.
So I don't know. I think that some quarterbacks are really talented. Darnold is a really talented quarterback, and he just wasn't in the right type of system with the Jets. He didn't have good support, and that's why it didn't work out.
He's got better weapons, too.
He has much better weapons. I think that these past couple of years have proven that environment matters so much for quarterbacks. Between Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, even Baker Mayfield, you can make an argument.
I mean, JSN has been unbelievable in Seattle, by the way. That guy deserves to possibly get some votes up there for MVP.
I want to see him become MVP just so I can see Mad Dog and Francesa try to pronounce his last name.
Oh no, Mad Dog more than Francesa.
Mad Dog more. Mad Dog was like a Jugba.
Who was the other name that sounded like the curse word that he actually said the curse word on the air? It was during the World Series. It was one of the Schlitzer.
Yeah,
it was the World Series, but he said Schittler.
Yeah,
which, by the way, fortunately, because he's on satellite, he can get away with that. But it was just the funniest thing hearing him pronounce the name. It was one of those things where you're just
But I'm sure he's not allowed to curse on his show.
No, he is.
No. I don't mean he's not FCC regulated, but I don't know if he has if it's the branding type of thing. It's a private regulation that says
no, they don't care. They just
don't care.
It's a choice they make. They don't have to follow it.
Right.
But no, it's just funny hearing him these names.
And in fairness, Francesa's was a little better, but the thing is that it's not that hard to pronounce. It's just pronounced in Jigba. That's
in
all
Jigba.
It's super easy. It's
by the way, him and by the way, Jonathan Taylor, by the way, had another incredible game in Berlin. I'm kind of done with these international games, by the way.
A lot of people are.
We have one more next week in Madrid.
I think that it gets tiring every single week we have these international games.
They want more next year.
Well, because they want to. I don't have a problem. My views on international games have evolved a little bit. I used to really hate them, Now the way I see it is that like it's obviously working for the NFL a little bit if they
Well,
keep.
they say it works. We don't know if it
But
actually.
why would they? Okay, but if it didn't work for them, why would they keep doing it?
It's money for them. They don't care.
Okay, then it's working.
No, but you can make money off something and not necessarily say it works 100% of the time.
Well, they wouldn't be making money off of it if it didn't work. If nobody wanted to go to those games, they wouldn't be making money.
Well, first of all, and we've had this conversation before, the NFL is a universal product. Anyone will go to it.
Well, it's trying to become one, but there's a reason they don't play games in say Kenya because they wouldn't be able to get people to go to Kenya. Like it
No.
wouldn't work, go to a game in Kenya. Like
But
it wouldn't work.
I
But
hear
you can do it in Europe, in South
No.
America.
Right, but I hear them talking about even more locations of other countries they want to go to. Like I thought I heard the Bahamas was another one they want to go to.
I mean, that wouldn't be that much different. I wouldn't care about that though, because that would be the same thing as playing a game in like Miami. It's our
True.
time zone. You're not going to be playing the game at 9:30 in the morning. It's the
God.
same thing. It's
God,
like playing a
Miami.
game in Mexico City. Like I don't care about the Mexico City and the Brazil games because the timing of the game doesn't change for us. It's just in a different stadium. I
Right.
don't care.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is the Europe games that they play at 9:30 in the morning.
London. Yeah.
I don't care about now anyway, but I do remember that when the Jets first played in London, I was in college and I woke up early that day just to watch the Jets play.
I've given up on the games that are at 9:30 in the morning at this point, even if it's a Jet game. Like I just said, F this. I'm not getting up and on a Sunday morning. It's like my brother and I would watch it because we Jets fans, but I was just like, I don't have the energy for this to get up at 9:15.
No, I totally get it. I do want to talk a little bit about college. Well, by the way, no. Forget college football for now. The Jets trades. So I have to respond to the Jets trades.
Okay.
We traded. Wait, let me just bring up the details right now.
So you traded Sauce and you traded Quentin Williams.
Yes.
Quentin Williams went to Dallas. Sauce went to the Colts, and I think they got first round picks in 26 and 27. I think.
And Mozzie Smith and Adonai Mitchell. Wait a second.
Mitchell's not a bad player either from the Colts.
He's a very, very good player. Let me just pull up the exact details because I don't remember the exact details.
The quarterback, though, that situation is just
okay. So the Colts acquired Sauce Gardner by trading the Jets 2 first-round picks, one in 2026, 2 first-round picks in 2026 and 2027. I think that means 1 first-round pick in each year.
Yes.
Plus and wide receiver Adonai Mitchell,
who's not a bad player. Yeah.
My only criticism of that move is that the Colts actually agreed to it because they got suckered into it. That is a steal for the Jets. Are you kidding me? The Jets just dumped a huge contract, which they never should have paid Sauce Gardner. He's been regressing every single year. Now he's the Colts' problem. And on top of that, not only do we get 2 first-round picks in the next 2 years, we also get Adonai Mitchell. I mean, this is not even a move that I like because the Jets are sellers. The Jets could be playoff contenders, and I would love this move. Like, this is as good of a deal as you can get for the Jets. It's a steal.
The Jets are the Miami Marlins. And the reason I say that is because they'll play for a few years, then they'll say, "Oh, we'll give it our best shot for 2 or 3 years," and then they trade. And then they trade for more picks, and they trade for more picks. And they're not in it for the long term, which is what bothers me big time as a Jet fan. And the quarterback situation's a mess.
But at least the Marlins have won a World Series in this millennium. I think it's a little different.
No, I'm just saying that they'll play until they get the maximized value out of something. And then they'll say, "Oh, I got to throw that away and get the next young player with draft picks."
But this is long-term. This is playing for – how is it not long-term? Objectively speaking, you trade Sauce Gardner and you get 2 first-round picks. You're recognizing that you're not going anywhere with this team.
Who's throwing the ball to Adonai Mitchell? Because right now we don't have that.
Okay, but like what? That's not the point though, because that's not really the point though. First of all, we do have 2 first-round picks, but what does that have to do with anything? Like, if anything, we have a better chance at getting a good young quarterback with 2 extra first-round picks.
You trust the Jets to actually pick a quarterback that's going to be long-term?
No, I don't. but they have a better shot with more first-round picks. Is the only point that I'm
And
making.
wasn't it true that it's not this coming, it's the next coming year where the quarterback class is supposed to be better, not the
We
one
don't
coming up?
know. We don't
What?
know.
Well, you know that stuff better than I do. That's what I heard too. That it's supposed to be a better class.
Look, it's not a bad class this year.
And the thing is, you did yourself a disservice winning today.
Oh, absolutely.
So this is what I'm talking about.
But here's my question, though. Here's my question. Those are two contradictory things that you just said. On one hand, you didn't like the Sauce Gardner deal.
It's not so that I don't like either one specifically. It's that I'm tired of, like, as a fan saying, okay, let's get rid of everybody because it's the player's fault. Like, it's not always the player's fault. Maybe it's management. Maybe it's ownership. That's the problem. And that's why we're not winning.
Well, okay, but like, what else did you want management and the owner? What else did you want Darren Muji to do?
Well, he's in a tough situation because he just took over. But
I mean, the Jets at the time, now were 1-7 with Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, and Quinnen Williams. What good are they doing them?
Well, did you see Breece Hall demanded a trade after those two trades were being made? And
I'd be fine trading Breece Hall.
I want to find a video because
he has value.
No, Breece Hall's a good player. I'm not debating that. But there was a video going around the other day because the locker room is such a shit show for the Jets. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm going to show this to you because Breece Hall was doing something in the locker room that would make you say, like, what the hell is going on in here? So I'm going to play this for you. Watch what he's doing in the locker room. Let's turn the sound off so we don't get that issue. But he's literally driving a go-kart in the locker room. Really?
At least he's not driving recklessly.
What?
At least he's not driving recklessly.
Agreed. But my point is, really, dude, a go-kart in the locker room? That's how messed up your locker room is?
I don't know. But I'd be in favor of trading him if they get a good enough deal. In terms of the actual deals that they got for Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, they were as good a deals as you're going to get.
Okay, but where is the improvement going to come from, though? Because we keep making these trades and we keep getting rid of people, but we're not getting better as a team.
No, I am not saying it's a guarantee they're going to get better, but they're absolutely not going to get better if they don't make a move at all. That's the point.
So tell me what my reason is to watch a Jet game the rest of the year.
Just for being a fan. That's the only reason.
There's nothing else. There's no players that I'd really want to see.
But that proves my point, though. That proves my point that the Jets are sellers and had to make these moves. That's the point I'm making.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's no names to go watch.
But like, what could the Jets have done that would have made them so much better right now?
I'm not saying that it would have made them better. I'm just saying I think this year is the throwaway anyway. So
yeah,
play and do something. But I'm just tired of going in and saying by the time we get to like the 9th or 10th game of the year that we're already throwing it away, like before we even get to the end of the year. Like,
right, but I agree with you. But at least they're acknowledging that. I would rather the season be over and they acknowledge it than the season be over and them not acknowledge it.
I guess.
At least they're doing. At least there's a first step to something.
I've gone on the record once on my show saying that I think Aaron Glenn doesn't deserve another year as a head coach of the Jets.
Here's the thing. Aaron Glenn was signed to a 5-year deal.
Okay.
They have to pay him for all those 5 years.
Do you realize how much of an embarrassment he's been to the media where he's playing keep away with who his starting quarterback is going to be every week?
I actually don't mind that.
But you know how silly that is?
Wait. Would you rather him just give away who the starting quarterback's going to be?
No, but I'm tired of him saying, oh, well, we don't know who our quarterback, when you clearly know who your starting quarterback is going to be.
Yeah, I get that. It's probably, I think he just wants to hide it. And I mean, the Ravens did the same thing with Lamar Jackson.
I mean, Brian Dable's done that many times before. But by the way, on that front too, can someone tell Jackson Dart maybe he shouldn't run the football as much as he does?
He's going to get hurt.
He already did. He's been diagnosed with a concussion.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's going to be worse. Like,
you know what that means, right? Mr. Broncos country is going to have to go start some games there.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I said this when we were doing the Red Zone stream. Jackson Dart is a really good player. He knows how to, for the most part, brace himself when he's running. But
Yeah.
like if that's the offense, the Giants are screwed. If he has to run the football for 2 touchdowns every game.
And by the way, when they played the Eagles, it was like the fourth quarter. The game was almost over. The game was out of reach for the Giants. Brian Dable keeps Jackson Dart in the game, and he's running him like up the middle, and he's taking these big hits. For
And
what?
He was jumping into hits too. Which
I think Dart and Scatterboo have the same problem, which is that they can't avoid big hits, and
they want to play
they
hero.
both got hurt.
They want to play hero instead of going down and just accepting the yardage when they get it.
I get it on some level. They're young players, first-year rookies. In college, you can do that. When you're playing the Big 12, like Cam Scatterboo did, you can get away with that. But in the NFL, that you're not going to last if you keep taking big hits like that.
But you know what? Neighbors was a little bit like that too. Now, this was an unfortunate injury, the way he got hurt this time.
That was non-contact.
But the first one, when he got hurt originally, like he was being overly aggressive running a route and he got hurt. Like, I don't know what it is within the Giants system. Like if Dable's like saying, go be aggressive and get as many yards as you can.
I think Brian Dable doesn't have half a brain.
Now, I find it funny because I see all these trolling accounts saying, breaking news, Brian Dable's fired. And I'm like, no, like it's going to take a lot more than.
Look, if Jackson Dart doesn't return this season, which I think he probably will, it's going to save Brian Dable's job. The injuries are, ironically enough, going to save Dable's job because they're just going to say, well, the quarterback and running back were both injured.
He's been awful, though. Like I thought Aaron Glenn was bad. Brian Dable's been bad, too. This guy can't, he's chasing the points constantly.
Yeah.
I don't, he goes for 2 more than, the only one who goes for 2 more is, why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden? In Pittsburgh. Am I forgetting the head coach's name?
Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin goes for 2 more than anybody.
Are you not thinking of? It's not Dan Campbell.
Well, Dan Campbell does too, but Mike Tomlin and Dan Campbell probably go for 2 more than any team in the NFL.
Dan Quinn probably does too.
Well, I think of Dan Campbell more for going it on 4th down more than anybody.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I don't know. It's. I know the Steelers are playing right now.
Are they? Oh yeah, you're right. Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Herbert.
Yeah, both. Justin Herbert's having a great year.
Yeah,
he really is. I mean, the Chargers team just isn't good.
The defense is screwing him. He's been fine.
He's been great.
It's the defense that cost them games at the end.
The Steelers are currently up 3-0.
Yeah, I think I had the Steelers, and I even put a Novig parlay together because I've been trying to do some of the crazier things to see what I can find, but yeah, I don't know. This was a weird week. Last week we had a lot of red all over our picks last week, except for you.
Yeah.
This week, actually, you're not doing too bad this week either. I'm trying to look around to see where some of the picks were upsets this week. What was the major upset? Oh, Miami.
Yeah.
Miami beating Buffalo.
The Miami makes no sense.
They don't.
They make no sense. I feel like this might save Mike McDaniel's job.
Well, the ownership had already come out and said he was going to finish the year anyway. But I don't know. I think this whole McGenius nonsense has got to stop.
Look, I actually think that Mike McDaniel's a huge part of the problem.
Yeah.
I think Tua is a good player in the right. The problem with Tua is that he's not good enough to overcome mediocre coaching.
True.
Every situation with Tua, everything has to be perfect. Which
I
is
agree.
a problem. Otherwise, you have to make sure he does. First of all, you have to make sure he stays healthy. You have to make sure he has enough time. You have to make sure he's ready. Blah, 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 everything.
Did you see the timeout, by the way, before the clock even started for the game? He called one before the game, they were about to have a penalty or some sort, and he called one right before the play clock or right before the game even started, and it was trending all over social media. And then, of course, Tua throws a horrible pick.
The top of the NFL is very hard to evaluate.
Yeah,
it's very hard to evaluate. You have the Bills, the Chiefs, the Lions. They all have lost some stinkers. And I think you can argue the Ravens, if they keep it up with Lamar Jackson, they could be the best team in the NFL for all we know.
It's funny you say that because like when we
Not
watched
that crazy.
the end of the Ravens game, I said it on the Red Zone stream. I said, "Oh, Nick's probably gonna say something to me later about how the Ravens are turning around on a
But they
on a
really
win streak."
are.
And no, I'm not arguing. Like they played really good. Now, one of those games was against the Dolphins, but
But look, the Dolphins just beat the Bills. Like maybe
well, that's what I forgot who said it. I think it was either Ben or someone said like the NFL doesn't make sense because from week to week you're going to see outcomes that you didn't expect. Like the Saints beating the Panthers.
yeah.
Like
Well, no, that's not that crazy.
I had the under on that. I didn't think it was going to go that much under though.
I took the Saints that game.
I'm trying to like I'm looking at all our picks now to see if anything really like stood out. A lot.
Other teams you have to look at now as some of the best teams in the NFL. You have to put the Patriots up there. They just went on the road and beat the Bucks. You got to put you have to put Seattle up there too.
By the way, so out of most of our locks, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us locked the Lions this week against Washington, which ended up proving to be right because Daniels didn't play and McLaren was out again. So
Isn't it crazy? Imagine if 10 years ago I had told you that, in 10 years from now, Mariota and Winston are both going to be backup quarterbacks.
and Mariota getting starting time.
No, but what I'm saying is that they were the first 2 picks of the draft.
That's a good point.
The point is, it didn't even really matter that much in the long run.
Well, there's much more turnover now in the NFL than there once was when they were in the quarterback position. But yeah, just looking at something like the Patriots beating the Bucks, I thought the Patriots had too many injuries to overcome, but they end up winning. They're now 8-2, I think. I still don't think they're the best. 7-2. Okay. Oh, right, because they had the off week. But I don't think they're the best team by any means.
No.
Like in the NFL, record means nothing. I feel like, except for getting into the playoffs.
It's what matters at the end, but record is not the best way to evaluate teams, I think.
That's true. I mean, this was an odd week again for some of the scores. Like the Seahawks beating the Cardinals 44-22 and 66 total points being scored. The Rams beat the Niners 42-26, 68 points scored. Like, when did we become an offensive juggernaut in the NFL like this?
It's not. I mean, it's not that crazy. I think the rules all favor the offense.
That's true, but I'm just saying the 3 games, like I said before, that were in the second window. The 3 winning teams were 42, 44, and 44. It's a lot of points.
Yeah.
That's why it was taking forever to get through the second window.
Yeah.
And what was it, a couple of weeks ago where the game that was the last game crossed over into Sunday Night Football, I think? I don't remember which game it was, but it was just taking forever with all the offensive scoring.
Yeah. So I do want to talk a little bit about the college football playoff rankings that came out, which I didn't get a chance to talk about. Overall, Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Alabama. I agree with the top 4 mostly, except I'd put A&M ahead of Indiana. I think A&M is right up there with Ohio State. I would put Ohio State 1, A&M 2, Indiana 3, Bama 4, Georgia 5, Ole Miss 6. Now, the BYU and Texas Tech are a little interesting because I don't really know how to evaluate them. Texas Tech's loss, their one loss was was when their quarterback was hurt. I understand Oregon being below them, though I think you can argue that Oregon should probably be at 7 and then BYU and Texas Tech at 8 and 9. Notre Dame, I think, is ranked too low. Notre Dame, realistically, I don't think is I think they're better than the 10th best team, realistically. Their only 2 losses were at home against A&M, against A&M in Miami, by a combined 4 points. And at the time, Miami looked like one of the best teams in the country. I think they've gotten worse. A&M is now arguably the best team in the country, and this was by a combined 4 points. And if not for a missed holding call, they'd have 1 loss. So I actually think Notre Dame is you can argue is ranked a little too low. Maybe I would put them ahead of BYU and Texas Tech, realistically, based on how good I think they actually are. Texas, I actually think is ranked fairly perfectly. They're right ahead of Oklahoma, who they beat by a lot. If anything, I think Oklahoma is ranked a little too high, you could argue. And then Utah, Virginia, I think both those teams are a little too high. Virginia, I don't think it's 14. I think USC is ranked way too low, and Georgia Tech. USC and Georgia Tech are ranked way too low. USC is not the 19th best team in the country. They are way ahead of that. But I obviously have some issues with all of it. And even Tennessee, I think maybe should be ranked one or two spots higher. Washington's done okay, but I don't know. Washington they might be unranked after this week, after losing to Wisconsin, who is terrible.
I'm still learning the ranking system a little bit, but I don't know anymore with these ranking systems because I think Notre Dame is too high on the list due to brand bias.
I don't think that's true at all. I don't think. Who would you rank ahead of Notre Dame? That's below them.
I mean, I'm looking at the CFP poll now. I don't know the teams well enough, but
I mean, Virginia just lost to who did Virginia lose? Virginia just lost to they lost to Wake Forest yesterday.
Yeah, that one I remember. Yeah,
they needed overtime to beat UNC. Like Virginia really is not that good.
I still think. I mean, I'm the wrong person 100% to ask this because I still think the system is effed up that they rank losses as better losses over terrible losses.
But you have to do that in college because it's not like the NFL.
Actually, technically, you don't have to. If everyone played within their conference, and then by the time you got to the college football playoff, where if you played in conference, every loss would be treated fairly, then you wouldn't have to do this.
Right, but that's the system that they have, which the committee didn't create.
But I'm saying it's a very simple switch. It's really not that. And
but in a weird way, that's worse. If you think every single game is in conference and there's no non-conference with no crossover between the conferences, you can't do it then either because the conferences are so uneven.
No, but I'm saying that if you just make it in conference and all the losses are treated evenly, that way you don't have to say this loss is considered higher rank because you lost to a team in the top 10 as opposed to someone that's a complete throwaway. And by the way, I wish they would do away with those stupid pay-for-play games too. I just think they're useless. And doesn't that defeat the system too? If you beat a team just because you played them, because you paid them $500,000 to show up?
Well, not really, because all the teams are doing it, so it kind of evens out.
But doesn't that defeat the purpose? You're playing a team that is not even close to being on your level whatsoever.
I mean, yeah, on some level, I'm not saying I sit down and watch those games, but think of it this way. It's good for the smaller schools that they're playing that are not at their level. It's good that they're getting paid a lot of money to playing in a game that they otherwise wouldn't be. Like, it's good for those schools. So I don't really
I root every time for that team that gets paid to upset the larger team.
Well, that's what happened with Florida and South Florida this year.
Well, and what was the other one? Old Dominion was, I think, one this year. The team that beat Army or Navy, whichever one it was, I can't remember which, they lost a pay-for game. Like, I root for those teams because it's obnoxious.
But that system is why they rank losses differently. Like, Texas has 2 losses, but one of those losses was a week 1 loss on the road against Ohio State, who's the best team in the country. You're not going to rank that loss the same as Florida losing to USF. So, like, obviously that context needs to be taken into account with college football playoff rankings.
Right, but if they made a rule, like if the NCAA came out and said no more, if you're going to play in conference, then we can determine the schedules. And we're going to put a rule in that says you can no longer pay teams to show up, then everything would be even.
I guess, but I'm just saying there's downsides to that too, which is that it's not good for those smaller schools. The reason the smaller schools do it is because it helps them a lot.
Well,
it's a lot of money that they're getting paid.
It's a little desperate too, if you ask me.
But the point is, though, it's like these smaller schools, like Old Dominion, like to them, it's very good for it helps them out a lot because they don't have as much money as these other schools do, and they're getting paid to play these games where there's no downside for them.
Well, I'll give you an example. So when Callan and I were doing press row this past week. He works at University of San Diego. He's the PA announcer over there. He said that the team that showed up was like I forgot the name of the conference. It was like a MAIA or whatever they call it school. I don't remember exactly. Maybe. I don't know. It was just very low ranked. And they showed up, and I think he said like the school paid them to show up, but they originally had 9 players on the roster. I think this was either volleyball or it was basketball. Sorry, it was basketball. And by the time the game started, 4 of the players went down with the flu. So they had 5. And then during the game, so he's texting me during the game, and he said after the first quarter, it was 19-1. University of San Diego. And then another player went down with the flu during the game, so they had to play 4-on-5 the whole game. This is what I'm talking about, though. Like, these schools are not in the same. They don't know how to play these games. That might be an unusual circumstance that 5 or 6
that's
players,
a little. I've never seen that in football.
But I'm just saying my point is that when you play these lower schools, they don't know anything about playing in these type of big games. They're usually
Not necessarily. They win sometimes.
Sometimes. Now we've had
there are times when they win those games. So it's not, and it often happens. They often play every year. So it's not that it's not that crazy.
Can I tell you one more thing I don't like either? Like these little contracts they make for rivalry series every year. Like what is it? It's Michigan and USC, I think, does it.
Yeah.
I hate that too. Why
is that a bad thing?
Because they make a whole big deal out of it. Oh, well, USC and Michigan agrees to play for the next 3 years. That's out of conference.
What?
But it's out of conference, isn't it?
Michigan and USC are in the same conference.
Or maybe it's not that one. I don't remember. It was Michigan.
You think of Notre Dame and USC?
Yeah.
I don't think Michigan and USC play every year. Well, okay, here's the thing. Notre Dame is not in a conference. So they play X number of ACC teams every year. They play USC and they play Stanford every year. Would it be better if Notre Dame just played randomly? If Notre Dame didn't play USC, that's a good rivalry.
See, in my opinion, the NCAA should be forcing Notre Dame into a conference. They should not be allowed to be independent. I don't think that's fair to everybody else.
But they're not the only independent team.
No, I get it. But I'm saying they get away with way more things than other schools do, brand-wise and stuff.
How good Notre Dame's schedule is largely depends on how good USC and Stanford are and whatever their ACC slate is for that year. So
you're not wrong. Yeah.
The thing is, USC, look, Notre Dame's schedule is never good. It's always below average, but I will defend them. They play a better schedule than a lot of Power 5 teams do. So they play a better schedule than a lot of ACC teams and a lot of Big 12 teams. And even some in recent, not so much anymore, but and not so long ago, even better than some Big 10 teams. So it's not that their schedule is it's not that much different from a Power 5 schedule. Like no. They play a certain number of ACC teams. They play USC. They play Stanford. It's not that much different.
No, I get it. I don't know. I think some of the system is kind of effed up in some ways where
you're just not used to it. You're used to professional sport.
No, well, again, and we've said this before, this is the only sport that ranks losses ahead of wins.
Well, they don't rank losses ahead of wins.
It's what it feels like to me, though.
No. They rank losses differently because, like I just explained, in college football, with the current system, you have to do it that way. It's not the only sport. They do it in basketball, too. College basketball losses are ranked differently also.
No, well, right. Yes, I think college football is worse. But
it's more noticeable in college football, but in basketball and every other college sport, it's the exact same thing. That's not a college football thing. That's just a college sports thing.
Well, okay, then let me ask it this way. Try explaining to a kid who's trying to play sports that says, oh, well, I should go out and win every single game when I'm out there on the field. But, oh, well, if the loss is to a much more difficult team, it's okay because it's not going to be taken into account as much because it's a higher team.
Well, every team goes out there to win. I don't know what your point is. Every team tries to
No,
win
so
every single
like
game.
a BYU, which is an undefeated team.
Yeah.
That's effed up that they're an undefeated team, but they're not in the top completely.
Why?
Because what do we do to go out? We go out there to win.
Because in college football, you control. First of all, the conferences are all uneven. Second of all, you control part of your own schedule, which is the biggest thing.
And I don't think that should be allowed.
Imagine if in the NFL, you only played games. You played 75% of your games in your own division, and those are the only games that counted for the standings. And you controlled your own schedule 25% for your non-division games. Imagine if the Jets, 75% of the games they played were against the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Patriots. And then the other 7, and then then 4, say 13 of their games they played in their division, and then 4 of the games they controlled. Do you think it would really be fair to have the same system they have in the NFL?
Well, let me say it a different way, since you were talking about the college system. So say the Jets, if I pull up their schedule really quick, because that would be the best way to make the example of
Did
it.
the Chargers just get a safety?
I think they might have, actually. So I'm looking at the Jets schedule, okay? So they have Buffalo. They had, I think that's the biggest team on their schedule, probably, right? Let's see. Oh, Baltimore. All right, so they play Buffalo twice. They have New England, which is really good this year. So say I took the Jets and whatever their schedule is, and then I said, well, because they played Buffalo twice, I should consider those losses at a lower level because Buffalo is considered the best team in the NFL. Or if I played the Chiefs and I lost to the Chiefs, that's what's happening in college football.
Well,
So maybe I shouldn't. So maybe my record doesn't look as good, but because the losses are to much better teams, the Jets should be ranked higher.
But it's a completely different thing in college and the NFL because, first of all, they have standings in college. Every conference has standings. You're comparing standings with rankings. Rankings are the system in college football. There is no ranking system in the NFL. It's a completely different thing. And the reason you can't have standings in the NFL in college is that it's as if they're playing multiple different. You can't have standings in college football with all 4 of the Power 4 conferences and Notre Dame. You could never have that because they don't play each other.
But if you went full conference until the playoffs, you technically could.
Unless you want there to be one conference that all of the, which obviously even then that would be impossible to do.
No, that would be impossible.
So many teams. There are so many more teams in college football than in major college football than in the NFL. NFL teams, everything evens out because everybody kind of plays each other. It's completely different. NFL schedules are far, far more even than college football schedules. It is now some teams play easier schedules than others. You get lucky, a quarterback is hurt when you play them, whatever. But it's far more even in the NFL is the difference. And everybody kind of plays each other. College football, SEC teams rarely play Big 12 teams, rarely play ACC teams, rarely play Big 10 teams. It's completely different.
So isn't that making my point then? Because you're saying they're not playing each other, that they should play more competition that's in their standard?
Sure. That's no. You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about. I've never even disagreed with that. But even if you did do all of that, your team, the situation wouldn't be that much different because teams still wouldn't be playing each other very much. Like it would be a very similar type of thing. But the point is that with the rankings, the point I'm making is this: with the current rankings, where you rate losses differently, because you have to have that with the current system, which the committee did not create. If teams control part of their own schedule, I'm not saying I like that. But if you are going to have that system, you cannot rank losses all equally if you control your own schedule, because then you're just incentivizing teams to do the thing that you hate, which is pay smaller schools just to win those games.
Well, what if you took that out and said, look, no more paying for fluky games, and just said you play the games that you need to for a schedule every year?
Okay, fine, but you have to do that, but that's not the committee's fault.
No, I'm not saying it's the committee's fault. I'm saying it's
so the committee. All I'm saying is that the committee has to work with the reality that they live in. They don't create it.
I still think the committee is kind of biased. Though from time to time, though, when they make their picks.
Every committee, a committee will never not be. The committee will never not be completely unbiased. However, I think that a lot of times the committee is. People say the committee is biased towards big brands, and there's some truth to that. I think the committee is sometimes biased towards small brands. There are times when there are schools that are put in the top 25, non-power 5 schools that have no business being in the top 25. This year, there aren't any, but, some years that's the case also. I mean, I remember one time. Now, I think I am very adamant that the committee made the right move to put in Alabama over Ohio State 8 years ago. But Alabama had a win over Fresno State. And of course, the last week of the season, the committee puts Fresno State at 25. Oh, how convenient is that? That just justifies your decision to put in Alabama over Ohio State.
Well, and Zan and I have this discussion all the time, and I keep forgetting what year it is. The team that went undefeated and lost their quarterback due to injury.
Florida State.
What?
That was Florida State.
I still think that was wrong because you can't. No, but you can't justify. You're saying that just because they don't have the quarterback that you shouldn't put them in?
No, it means that you have to reevaluate the team without the quarterback because they're not the same team. And Zan was agreeing with me on this. First of all, they don't just do that in football. They do that in basketball too.
No, I agree with you. I've seen them do
basketball. If a player gets hurt in basketball, say it's their best player. Let's say, for instance, a few years ago, Zach Edey on Purdue got hurt.
Yeah.
Purdue would not have been ranked as high as they were. It's the same thing in football and basketball. You have to reevaluate the team if they don't have their starting quarterback because the point of the system is to judge who the best teams are. And without the quarterback, you're not you would have been putting in a Florida State team that would have stunk, that would have had no business being in the playoffs if they had put them in. So you have to reevaluate the team. It's not just about winning the games. You have to, it's a little bit of both. And before you say, well, the games don't matter, if that's the case, that's not true. Florida State would have been ranked 10 spots lower if they had lost one game that year.
But what about getting to that point is my point. Because he was there winning those games. So you're going to tell me all of a sudden before that game that basically there's no value with him not being there, even though he won all the games getting up to that point?
But the point is, he wasn't there anymore, so you have to reevaluate the team. They're not the same team without Jordan Travis. They were not the same team. Jordan Travis was one of the best quarterbacks in college football at the time.
You don't see this in any other sport, though.
What?
Where you don't see this in any other sport where if you lose your best player, you see the sports like, well, we're taking you out because your best player is gone.
They do in college sports. They do. They do it in basketball. I don't know other sports. I don't know any other college sports. Probably baseball too. They might, but baseball's a little different. In basketball, they do. In basketball, if a team loses their best player in college basketball, you probably wouldn't miss the tournament because there's so many teams, but you will absolutely get a worse ranking if that's the case.
But I still think it's effed up that they were undefeated and they didn't make the tournament.
Of course it is, but the point, of course it's messed up. I felt really, really bad for Florida State, but the point is that this was people made it sound like Florida State got screwed, but that's not.
I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying that.
That happens with every single team that would have happened with, which is that after they lost Jordan Travis, they were not the same team, which the committee clearly saw. That was what they did, which is what I think they got right.
So then doesn't that defeat the point of saying, oh, win as many games as you should? And then it does, because the team was undefeated and they lost their quarterback and they were eliminated from the tournament.
Because they had to reevaluate the team. They were not the same team without Jordan Travis, because the point of the committee is to pick the best teams. Ultimately, pick the best teams. It's not just about who wins the most games. It's about evaluating who the best teams are. And that's a big part of it too. That's not the only part of it. Obviously, what happens on the field matters, but you do have to evaluate who the best teams are. So can you really argue that Florida State was a top 4 team without their quarterback? Could you?
I mean, I don't know the team well enough, but you're probably right that they weren't. But
okay, that's
but,
it.
Well, I would propose this to them, because since we're so focused on just ranks, mostly in college football, and not the records, why don't we just throw all the records away and just have a running tally system of the teams in a list. And whoever wins, you move them up, and whoever loses goes down. There's no need for the records then at that point.
But the records are the thing with college football records is the way I see it is it's something I look at. Record matters, and the committee is the same way, but I'm not paralyzed by it. It is not the only thing that matters. Record is something I look at, but it's not the only thing that matters. By the way I see NFL teams is not even that much different. Like if I'm ranking the best teams who I think the best teams in the NFL are, I'm not just looking at record.
No. I'm not talking about where they should be in the standings. I'm just saying wins don't really matter as much anymore based on kind of what you're telling me, because the committee is going to say, oh, I'll take a 3-win or 3-loss team over an undefeated team.
That never happens. It never goes that far. It never goes. Even now with the 12-team playoff, it's never that much different.
BYU's been undefeated. Notre Dame has 2 losses.
Yeah, well, BYU is ranked ahead of Notre Dame, though.
No, but I'm saying most of the season, they kept putting Notre Dame in front of BYU, who was undefeated.
Not the playoff committee. The playoff rankings
I'm talking about the AP. But
it doesn't matter what the AP thinks.
I mean, the AP is a load of garbage, if you ask.
The AP, it doesn't count for anything. It doesn't matter.
So why even do it then?
I don't know. We don't need the AP rankings. The only thing the AP rankings do is that they provide some like guidance for the playoff rankings, but no, because Notre Dame has 2 losses, they're ranked below BYU and Texas Tech. Now, here's the real question. If Notre Dame played BYU in BYU or Texas Tech in Texas Tech, who's favored that game?
Wait, say those 2 matchups again?
If Notre Dame played either BYU or Texas Tech on the road in their stadiums.
Well, no, Notre Dame's going to be favorited, obviously.
Notre Dame's okay then. So who's favored in a matchup is the best way to evaluate teams.
That's true.
Really
no,
I
I'm
mean, it really just
not
is.
disagreeing with that. I don't know. I just find it weird when you see ranks and you see a 2-loss team ahead of an undefeated team.
But in fairness to Notre Dame, they lost by a combined 4 points to Miami. Two ranked teams, one of them arguably the best team in the country.
But every other game we play, a loss is a loss. It doesn't matter if you lose by 2, or if you lose by 100.
But that's kind of like what I like about college football, though, is that it's like an art. It's not like the NFL, which is just a science. What I like about college football and picking teams is that it's an art, which is what makes it so great and makes it stand out from every other sport. It's what I love about it. Like, that's kind of just what I like. All right, I do want to talk about my trip to Austin a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so I just got back from Austin. That's why I didn't do the show. I saw the World Series Game 7 in Austin.
Oh, okay.
And Austin is like it's like a combination between like a big city and like a Texas small town. Like you see a lot of like,
yeah.
You see, what the biggest difference between Texas and New York is that in Texas, the bars and nightclubs want you. You know what I mean? Like if you're walking down the street, you would have people like trying to bring you into their bar or their nightclub, talking to you, things like that. New York is the opposite. New York, you go down the street and you want to get into a nightclub, they're like, we'll see about that. You know what I mean? They have a bouncer. They're like,
connections you got.
Right. They look at you in a certain way. They're like, who do you know around here? It's like in New York, nightclubs, bars, they don't want you there. In Texas, they're trying to pull in everybody. That's one big difference I noticed between the two.
I wasn't in Austin, but I went to Houston because I was checking out Minute Maid for the Astros. Like you're right. Like Texas is a much different place than here. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's because it's a weird combination between like a regular city, because it's like a very blue city and a very red state. So it's like a weird combination between a city like New York and like a small town in Texas. So you see a lot of like regular sort of like nightclubs, but you also see a lot of sort of Texas country kinds of bars and things. So you see quite a bit of both. Now I went for the comedy. And the comedy scene in Austin, Austin is a very big comedy scene.
I've heard that, yeah.
At least within the past 5 years. Joe Rogan moved there.
Yes.
So the Mothership is there. Kill Tony is there.
I like him. He's funny.
Yeah. And I tried doing the Mothership and Kill Tony. Needless to say, I didn't get on either one. And the reason is just because it's not like I auditioned and didn't get in. It's all random.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
all completely random. At the mothership, they have 16 spots.
Wow. Okay.
8 of them are reserved for regulars.
That makes sense. Yep.
So at least 100 people, signed up for the mothership. So at the very best, I had maybe an 8% chance of getting picked.
Oh, jeez.
So the likelihood of, and even there, I don't even know how rigged the list is there.
Oh, it probably is.
I mean, it very well could be. Kill Tony is even worse. Kill Tony is like, there were something like between probably 200 and 300 people there. They picked maybe 10 to 12 people.
Oh, God. So 10% or not even. Yeah.
No. It's like a 5% chance.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's like 5. Yeah.
If you're lucky, you have a 5% chance
Okay.
of getting picked on Kill Tony. So I'll say people are like, Austin's like known for this being this big comedy city for like young up and comers and things like that. But the truth is that it's very like, if you live there, I guess you're probably going to get on eventually if you do it every week. But just traveling there, like I have one shot. Like your likelihood of getting picked any one time is just not very good.
Wait, so what actually happened, or what did you do, or did you like get up on stage or something?
Oh, I did, but not there.
Oh, what is it, like a secondary place or something?
Yeah, I did the Creek in the Cave, which is a really famous place. And there were also like, there's a lot more late night mics there.
Okay. Yeah.
Compared to New York. But overall, like I think they're just not, the comedy scene there is different in the sense that it's just not very well run. Outside of like the mothership and Kill Tony and things, outside of some really big places, it's not well run at all. It's not like New York. New York, they run a tight ship. In the city, they run a tight ship. And the level of comedy in Austin, Texas, from what we all saw, was notably worse than in New York.
You mean the jokes or just like the quality?
Like, the comedians were not as good.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah.
In New York, everybody's sets are like much tighter.
Well, and also there's more high quality in New York.
Which I guess a lot of that is a cultural thing about the two places.
Yeah.
Like New York, everything in New York and Boston is very like hustle and bustle, and everybody's on the run constantly.
It's more blue collar in Texas, the comedy, right?
Texas is more like the pace of life is slower in Texas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the comedy reflects that a lot. It's not like in New York. If you go see New York comedians, you go to the Cellar, everybody's sets are like really tight.
And fast. It feels fast.
Everything is like set up, punchline. Texas is way different. The comics waste a lot of time.
They probably tell huge stories, probably.
Yeah, a lot of them are really bad. Like a lot of, not to say there's not a lot of bad comics in New York. There are, but I just think the level was far worse in Austin. And I'm not talking about like famous comedians. I'm just saying like the scene that I saw. But overall, it was a good trip.
Was that why you went down? Or you said?
Yeah, that's why I went down. I didn't go for the Texas Vanderbilt game. I went for the comedy.
That story still makes me laugh partially, but
I wanted to go. I really, really wanted to go to the Texas Vanderbilt game.
I mean, thanks, Spirit Airlines. I still laugh about that partially.
I really, really wanted to go to the game, and I did see the Game 7 of the World Series. I met Brian Callen. I took a picture with him.
Oh, I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, I took a picture with him. And
He's an interesting person.
I sent it to my dad, and he said, "Oh, that's Eddie from The Hangover."
What?
No, he was Eddie from he was the shop owner in The Hangover.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But like, of all things to know him, like he's like that's where that's like looking at a picture of Willie Mays and being like, "Oh, that was the guy on the Mets."
Oh, jeez.
All right, I got to get going. That was a pretty long show today.
Well, I just wanted to say one more thing. Did you see the update on the YouTube TV situation or no?
I heard about it.
So YouTube TV actually tweeted something out an hour ago. And of course, because I'm stuck in purgatory with YouTube TV. Now, I finally did the thing I don't normally do. I actually went and got ESPN Unlimited. Now we have a bundle, so I only had to pay $18 a month compared to the $30 a month that some people were paying separately. So now I can watch through the Hulu app and all that stuff. But they tweeted out, "We've been working to negotiate a deal with Disney that pays them fairly for their content, returns their programming to YouTube TV. We know it's been disappointing to lose Disney channels, and in the light of disruption," now this is where I laugh, "we're offering our subscribers a $20 credit."
Well,
One time. So this could be out for 5, 6, 7 months, and they're offering one $20 credit. Now, I don't know which services or whatever you use, but I loved YouTube TV at first. Now I'm like ready to like throw it out the window
yeah.
because I'm just annoyed by it. I couldn't watch college football on Saturday. I couldn't watch not that it was Cowboys Cardinals, so I didn't care about Monday night, but I couldn't watch college football again. Now I have the app, so technically I can, but I couldn't watch it directly through YouTube TV, which is such a pain.
Yeah. No, it is. Luckily, I don't have YouTube TV, but
Yeah, don't suffer. Not worth it.
all right. Thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
Show comes out.